If you want new AI features, this is the show for you. My gosh. Today we're going to be going over what's new and what's been announced with OpenAI's new updates. They've had this 12 days of shipmas or 12 days of OpenAI, and we're just about in the middle of it. So today we're going to be recapping not just what's new with all of these updates, but what they mean and how you can actually use them. I'm excited for today's show. I hope you are too. What's going on, y'all? My name is Jordan Wilson, and I'm the host of Everyday AI. This thing, it's for you. It's your daily live stream, podcast, and free daily newsletter helping everyday people like you and me not just learn about AI, but how we can all actually leverage it to grow our companies and our careers. Is that you? If so, this is for you. Another thing that's for you, our website. My gosh, you got to go to it. It's youreverydayai.com. There you can listen to anything, right? Whatever you want to learn in generative AI, we have it there. We've talked to the world's leading experts on just about everything. You can go watch, read, and listen every single episode, 420 plus, as well as go sign up for our newsletter where we recap each day's show, as well as bring you everything else that you need to know to stay up to date. All right. So today's show is going to be a little different, a little special, I think, right? Because every day we start off with the AI news. And today, actually, Google shipped so much. Today's episode, I mean, it's going to turn into a Google / OpenAI update. So yeah, we're going to go over the 12 or at least, the first 5 days of OpenAI's updates. But going over the AI news today, well, Google's got it on lock because they announced, I think, let me just say this out loud. I think Google announced more in the last 24 hours than OpenAI has in the first 5 days of their kind of 12 days of OpenAI. So we're going to start off the AI news, which is literally just Google updates because I think they're that big and that significant. Also, let me know, live stream audience. I had some issues last time. Hopefully, y'all can hear me today. All right. But let's talk about AI news today. It's just all Google. My gosh, they shipped. All right. So first, Google has unveiled Gemini 2.0 Flash, the latest in its AI model lineup, promising enhanced speed and performance over other previous versions. So the new model is part of Google's strategy to encourage developers to create innovative applications using AI Studio and Vertex AI. If you're going on the front end of Google Gemini, you're not going to see Gemini 2.0 Flash. Or actually, you know what? There's been so many updates over the last couple of days. Okay, actually, I'm wrong. You will see 2.0 Flash on the front end. Yeah, that's right. Finally, we get some front end updates for Google Gemini. Gemini 2.0 Flash is a multilingual and multimodal, supporting text, imagery, and audio inputs, and can respond in any of those modes. The model introduces and this is on the Google AI Studio side, a multimodal live API enabling real-time conversation and image analysis. So Google aims to integrate AI agents also into practical applications. Yeah, and we're going to be talking about some of these, exploring projects like Project Astra, Project Mariner, and Jules, which focuses on human agent interaction and coding assistance. Jules, let's talk about that very quickly. That is a new AI-powered coding agent, so specifically made for coding and development tasks, and it's set to assist developers with coding tasks in Google Colab and other IDEs through currently available, and that's only available right now to trusted testers. All right, the next one, Google's Project Mariner. All right, so this was codenamed previously. I believe it was Project Jarvis. I said, that name's not going to happen because that's going to be another lawsuit like the last company that tried to do Jarvis. So Google has officially unveiled Project Mariner, which is the first AI agent capable of navigating the web autonomously. So yeah, you can kind of do it right now with Claude's computer use, but you can't really do it on the front end. You have to do a little bit of setup, download something on your desktop. So this is the first one. It's not available to everyone yet, but all these new things that we're talking about here from Google Gemini are powered by the new Gemini 2.0 Flash. So this new Mariner is a Gemini-powered AI agent that can control a Chrome browser, moving the cursor, clicking buttons, and filling out forms, mimicking human interactions on website. So it's initially just released to a small group of these pre-selected testers. So yeah, who knows when the rest of us are going to see it. But it's moving toward an AI-mediated web interaction rather than just direct user engagement. So the Mariner AI agent can perform tasks such as creating shopping carts on grocery websites, finding flights, and exploring recipes. Here's how it works. So screen activity is monitored through screenshots sent to Google Gemini in the cloud, ensuring users are aware of the agent's actions. And right now, Project Mariner operates only in the active tab in Chrome. So it does require users to kind of watch its activity, or when I'm using it, I'm just going to give it its own computer and be like, yo, go do your thing, buddy. And Google says that is intentional for transparency. There is no specific timeline for a broader rollout of this Project Mariner, but we'll see. Google, a lot of times they either ship something right away or they, put out a little tease, and it could be many months, like we just saw with Sora. All right, Project Astra. Google, yes, more Google AI news, y'all. I wanted to bring you other AI news, but I didn't have a choice. So now we have a wait list. Yay. Google has opened Project Astra, which we've talked about many times on the show, to its trusted tester waitlist. So this is its new augmented reality kind of project, very similar to what we saw demoed on 60 Minutes from OpenAI with its advanced voice mode, the ability to kind of see real-time video and interact with that. So a little different than some of these other things that we're talking about, but according to Google's DeepMind page, Project Astra allows users to engage via a mobile device and prototype AR glasses, aiming to enhance user interaction through an experimental Astra app. So participants can use the app to open their camera and share their screen, gaining quick information about objects they see, leveraging Google's apps like Maps, Lens, and Search. So the AI model behind Astra is described as multilingual, allowing users to interact in their preferred language with the AI, providing vocal and written responses. So Google has also integrated a memory feature into Astra, enabling it to recall key details from previous interactions, similar to the saved info feature in Gemini. And yeah, we saw Project Astra initially released or teased at Google's I/O conference many months ago. So still not out, but we saw some new features. Pretty impressive. All right. Last but not least, I promise this is it, y'all. So Google has unveiled deep research. This is huge. I freaking love this. All right. I'm not going to go ahead and say it's like a Suno moment for me or a Notebook LM, but my gosh, I am loving deep research so far. So Google has just released deep research. It's its latest AI advancement, and it promises to change how users conduct online research by automating the process. So it was just announced, and it's part of the Gemini Advanced Suite. So you do have to be on that $20 a month. Think of it like this. Here's what it is. And I'm going to skip all my other bullet points. You know how Perplexity can, go through and look at 15 to 20 websites. I love Perplexity. I've loved it all along. This is going to kill it. If Perplexity doesn't pivot, I'm dead serious, y'all. Love Perplexity. Use it every day. I used Google's deep research last night to help me prepare for this show. My mind was blown. Okay. It visited 169 websites for me. Let me repeat that. It was a very long prompt, right? And I gave it a lot of instruction, but it visited 169 websites for me. It did all the browsing, right? So, OpenAI has their, ChatGPT search, Perplexity, fantastic. This could be a literal, I'm not going to use the word game changing. I'm going to say the word human changing. I don't know. Unless it's a quick one-off thing, if I'm going to be doing any other web browsing, I'm probably just going to be using this new deep research. It is so So good. So make sure you go check that out. But again, you do have to have the Gemini Advanced plan, $20 a month. I don't know why. I don't have it on my workspace account, which I pay for, but I have it on my personal Gmail. I pay for the advanced version there as well. So it may not be rolled out if you are using Google Workspace in your organization or your business account, but you might have to pay for it on your personal Gmail, but it is there. All right. Oh gosh, I told y'all, hey, I warned you guys ahead of time. This was going to turn into a dual episode of OpenAI and Google News. But all right, let's get to this stuff you actually came for, the 12 new features. So what is going on? Well, I think this is also a good example of go-to-market strategy, right? Because no one was really talking about Google, right? Until yesterday, and they went nutty. But we've all been talking about the 12 days of OpenAI. I love and maybe this is just the startup mentality, but OpenAI, I love what they've done with this. You know, they have a live stream every day at noon Central, 10 a.m. Pacific. It's good, it's entertaining, it's fast, and it's detailed. So every single day from it started last week until I believe the last day is December 20th. So next Friday, they're releasing or announcing one new feature or one big update. So we are about halfway. Today marks the halfway point. So we're going to be going over the first five. And I'm not just going to be rattling off like, oh, here's what's new, but I'm going to tell you what it all actually means. All right. So day one, here we go. And y'all, if you do have questions as we go along, please get them in. All right. So day one, we actually kind of got two announcements. They could have, if I'm being honest, they could have made this into two separate announcements, but that's fine. So on day one, we got both ChatGPT Pro, which is a new tier, the elite cool kids club or country club of ChatGPT at $200 a month. So we got a new ChatGPT Pro. We got the full O1 model. Okay, so previously this OpenAI's new kind of reasoning model, which is completely different than their GPT models. We just had a preview. We had the preview and the mini. So now we have mini, O1 full, and then you have O1 Pro. But you only get that O1 Pro if you are on the $200 a month Pro plan. So there's some other features of that Pro plan when we talk about Sora, which we're going to be getting to here in a second. So that's what was announced on day one. So here's what these new modes and offers do, right? So the new O1 updates. So according to OpenAI, it offers a 34% reduced error rate versus previous models. It delivers deeper analysis and a PhD level reasoning for complex research, math, and coding. And it does allocate what they said extra compute time for the O1 Pro. So we don't even know, is O1 Pro just is it a completely different model? Was it trained differently? There's not a ton of information out yet. Essentially what OpenAI said is, yo, we just give it some extra juice. We give it extra compute, right? So that makes me think it's like, okay, is the O1 model being like somewhat throttled, or could the full O1 model do what O1 Pro is capable of? I don't think so. It does just seem like, there's just extra brains in this O1 Pro model. So if you haven't used O1, I think it's limited use cases, right? But if you're in data, if you do anything around data, if you do anything around business intelligence, if you do anything around software development, if you do anything around research, if you do anything in the academic fields, I think O1 is a great model. So again, I'm not going to go too deeply, but O1 is completely different than traditional large language models, what many of us use. So it does use this kind of chain of thought or reasoning. So it thinks like a human, right? And sometimes it will think for multiple minutes before it gives you a response. So it's not this quick topical response that you're used to with the GPT series of models. It really thinks and it reasons, and it is really good. So what's the availability? Well, now. No wait list. It's available now. If you do want that O1 Pro, you do have to be on that ChatGPT Pro plan, which is $200 a month. So what makes this unique? Well, there's a couple things here because it's technically like two or three different things, right? The ChatGPT Pro plan, well, what makes that unique is, well, it's the most expensive kind of consumer grade subscription there is out there, right? Yeah, we had Devon's, or Cognition's Devon that was just announced this week that we covered in our newsletter for $500 a month, but that's not for everyone. So this is, I would say, the first time that we've seen an AI or a large language model related plan that is really premium. and I've been saying this for more than a year. I've said all along there's going to be AI plans that are hundreds or thousands of dollars a month. As we get more and more capable models, right? As we, maybe officially or unofficially cross over from the HEI tier, working toward the ASI tier, right? Even as compute becomes too cheap to meter, we're still going to have plans. And I do see this eventually from, maybe Claude, maybe Microsoft, maybe Google, right? But I don't think it's going to be wild to think about that there's going to be plans that cost hundreds or thousands of dollars a month, right? Especially as these models become, multi agent environments. Think of reasoning models that have access to tools that can perform actions on your behalf, right? Who wouldn't pay hundreds or thousands of dollars a month, even if it's per user? But what makes the O1 Pro model unique is, well, it just gets extra juice, right? And it's according to all the benchmarks. We already went over the benchmarks earlier. The benchmarks are very impressive at math, coding. Think of anything that a PhD would be capable of. That's what O1 Pro essentially is. It gives you highly accurate PhD level intelligence in your pocket. Wild. So how can you use it? Right. I told you I wasn't just going to rattle off a bunch of stats at you today, although we're going to be doing that. But, well, it can solve advanced scientific and mathematical problems with research grade accuracy. It can tackle intricate coding challenges, and it can execute tasks demanding careful, consistent reasoning. All right. So, give it a try, right? People are like, oh, should I do the $200 pro plan? Well, we're going to talk about Sora, and maybe the answer to that depends on if you're going to be using Sora a lot. And I do think that we're going to see more differentiation. I said this last week, the week before, or sorry, I said this last week once the pro plan was announced. I'm like, there's going to be more features that OpenAI announces during this 12 days that are going to be extremely, that the paid plan is going to be limited. The $20 a month plan, it's going to be limited for a lot of these new features that we saw. Saw that immediately with Sora. You don't get access to everything on the $20 a month plan. So the $200 a month plan, there's going to be a lot. But even on the $20 a month plan, you can get your feet wet with O1. I still use O1 every day, even though I'm not a researcher. I'm not using it for, PhD level mathematics or coding challenges, right? I'm dumping a lot of data on it, and I'm having it think for me, right? It's weird now. So often, at least when it comes to business, I always have multiple large language models do my first round of thinking for me when it comes to a deep task. Even something like planning today's podcast, right? I go to reasoning models first, right? It's like, oh, how should I open it? How should I plan it? How should I structure it? Right? Here's all my data, all my notes, right? Because I'm taking notes, put it all in a good format for me, right? So it's not just if you're a mathematician, all right. So day 2, Sora. All right. We covered, did a little review of Sora on our YouTube channel, and we shared that in our newsletter as well. But hey, live stream audience, let me know. You guys interested in Sora? It's weird. I've, in some previous lives, I did a lot of video shooting, a lot of video editing. I don't really do any of that anymore, but it's really good. It's really good. And I keep thinking in my head, who is Sora actually for, right? And I think very early on, creatives, right? So, but I think eventually everyday people are going to be using it, right? Um, as content becomes easier to create with AI, I think consumers' expectations for highly personalized content is going to increase, right? So I would say let's just say for easy use, right? Fortune 500 companies, 500 companies. Let's say only 10 of them really leaned heavily into creative video production traditionally. All right. Now I think it's going to be the other way around. It's going to be 90%, right? Because consumer expectations are going to increase because we're going to start getting highly personalized, very high quality video content that speaks to us, right? So I think what Sora is starting to bring is going to change it. So yeah, Sora, if you don't know, it is OpenAI's text to video model. This is one of those ones. Talk about waitlist, right? I sometimes call Google out. You got to call OpenAI out on this one, right? And I know there's reasons. They previewed this in February, so this was a 10-month wait list, and I said in February. I said in February, this isn't going to come out until after the US election. It didn't, right? So there's certain things when it comes to safety, even when it comes to following laws, right? So as an example, Miriam here is saying no Sora here in the UK. Yeah, CEO Sam Altman said it's going to take a while, right? There's certain laws in certain countries that might prohibit things, and it's for safety reasons as well. So I get it. Super long wait, but let's talk about what Sora does. So it transforms detailed text prompts into HD videos up to a minute long. If you do have that $200 a month plan, the Pro plan, it creates, extends, and refines scenes with multiple characters and precise motions, and it maintains high visual fidelity and prompt adherence. So, is it perfect? Absolutely not. Right? No. Yeah. Try something that requires real world physics. Not good. Right? Try to run a Sora prompt with something with gymnastics, right? Something with a human, or a group of people mountain climbing, right? The physics still aren't there. So you do have to understand what Sora's strong suits are, capabilities. If you're going to start with text, if you're going to start with an image, but if you know what you're doing, and you might have to run 4 different variations to get one that works. But for the most part, if you know what you're doing, you can create video that 5 years ago would have taken thousands of dollars, multiple humans. You can create something decent in a couple of hours, right? By stitching some of these short clips together. You could create a promo video for your business. You could create an advertising campaign. You can create so many things that, again, would have taken a big budget and a lot of humans. You can do that with a $200 a month subscription now, right? I don't think you can do it with a $20 a month because your credits get burned quickly. And you do sometimes have to run multiple generations to get something usable because you get something different every time. But again, I'm not going to say replace, but it can really do what thousands of dollars and multiple humans used to do 5 to 10 years ago. Extremely impressive. Well, its availability to all ChatGPT Plus and Pro users, and future tailored pricing is planned. So yeah, we might see a credit system because, I saw online, even people that have the ChatGPT, Pro plan, $200 a month. It is a credit-based system, and you essentially have unlimited generations of lower quality. But if you want HD quality, you're going to run out. You could even run out pretty quickly on that $200 a month plan, right? Where I think, other video generators where they might excel is allowing you a bigger plate, right? With a runway, you can eat more, right? With Illuma Labs, you can eat more. Right now, I think Sora is higher quality than some of those. People might disagree with me on that. If you look at the ceiling, right? If you're not looking at the average, because tools like Runway, like Luma, like Kling, all of these other AI video generators, they've gotten millions of data points. Sora doesn't have that yet, but they will soon. Again, this is the worst Sora will ever be. But I think Sora has a higher ceiling. The average output right now, Sora might not be the leader because it's a couple days old, right? In terms of the general public, right? OpenAI servers have been crashing. I read online, December has been OpenAI's most, or I guess their hardest hit month in terms of uptime, right? Everyone's rushing and crushing the server. So it will hopefully get a little bit better. Yeah, a couple people asking about VPNs, right? So yeah, if you're in Europe, certain countries in the EU, you don't have access. And if you use a VPN, you could try, right? But they explicitly said they are going to ban accounts that are doing that. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend it. All right, so what makes Sora unique? Well, there's a lot of features that I like that are super easy. So I'm going to talk about a couple here. So one, style presets. Not super unique, but I think it's unique in the way that it's implemented. So you can very quickly, you don't have to be a prompt engineering expert. You don't have to be an AI video aficionado to be able to really get the most out of Sora with some of these presets. But I love the storyboard feature. I think It's not super mature yet, but I think it's going to get better. I did play around with it a little bit, but this is essentially a way that you can make a coherent story, right? Because that's been one of the biggest challenges with AI videos so far, is having being able to piece together multiple of these clips, right? Because if you try to let it create something long, it may go off the rails. So generally, your best generations using AI video tools are running shorter ones that you have more control over, and probably starting with an image versus text, right? So what a lot of people have done is, there's now AI image tools that allow you to create consistent characters. So then they just do that and then create, line those up and create multiple videos. But with the storyboard feature, it does that, right? So it's like you can literally run multiple text prompts, one after another, after another, after another. And Sora does its best to make them all work together. Super impressive feature. So how can you use it? Well, we already talked about this, but you can use Sora to quickly produce concept visuals and unique animations. You can generate educational or marketing videos with minimal effort. You can streamline content creation, saving a ton of time and resources. All right. All right. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. Liz said, Sora broke my heart. They're on GPT Teams and you didn't get access to it, but Plus did. Yeah. Teams and enterprise clients aren't always going to be able to get access to all of these things, right? I have multiple free accounts. I have ChatGPT Plus accounts. I have ChatGPT Teams accounts. I have enterprise, right? Because clients hire us to help their teams learn ChatGPT. So yeah, some of these are if you want access immediately, you might just have to be on the ChatGPT Plus plan or on the Pro plan. All right, day 3. All right, we're gonna go a little faster. This one's dragging on. Google had to screw up the timing and just ship like crazy. All right, so day 3 was reinforcement fine-tuning research program. Little technical, but super cool. All right, so here's what was announced. Well, it was an expansion of the RFTRP or RF. I don't even know if we're gonna abbreviate that one. So the reinforcement fine-tuning research program. It was an expansion of the program enabling reinforcement-based custom AI model development. I know this sounds dorky. It's not as dorky as it seems. So here's what it does. It employs reward-driven loops to refine model reasoning and accuracy. You can create specialized models in narrow domain, such as medical or legal, with minimal data. That is the key here. We're talking about dozens of examples, not hundreds of thousands, right? When you would talk about traditionally fine-tuning models, right, with take a long time. So now with this kind of new program, we're talking about dozens of examples. All right. So it essentially creates expert models with significantly improved task performance. Right now, it is in alpha, so it's not even in beta phase yet. So, I wouldn't see plan for general availability for this anytime soon. Although OpenAI did say that the release for this is planned for early 2025. So here's what makes it unique. It uses a grader that you can reward desired outputs, boosting correctness and reasoning quality. And it requires, like I said, way fewer examples. So think of this is not sometimes y'all like this shows for everyday people. Sometimes I sacrifice 1% of accuracy so I can get 99% more clarity. Okay. Think of it like this. 2 years ago, if you wanted to fine tune a model, right? So that means make this big model specific for your domain. It would cost a lot of money, sometimes millions of dollars. It would take a lot of engineers, and it would take sometimes hundreds of thousands of your own data points to essentially train the model, right? So think of it as you're using a car's engine, right? And then you're building, the tires and the I don't know anything about cars. I shouldn't have used that as an example, right? But you're building all these other pieces, and it takes time. Now it's not like that anymore, right? So what this could lead to is customizing your own car, but with a couple of clicks, right? And not having to have a team of people building the rest of the car, just starting with the engine. So how we can use and build these models is going to really change, and being able to get essentially a fine-tuned model with only a couple dozen examples, right? Where you have to train the model. Hey, when someone asks about this, this is a right answer, this is a wrong answer, and this is why, right? You essentially easily can classify those things. It makes it simple, right? It makes it to where non-technical people and smaller businesses, startups can start using this once it's available. Whereas normally, in order to fine-tune models, you had to be an enterprise company with a bunch of, AI engineers, essentially. So here's how you can use it. You can produce high accuracy models in focus fields. You can improve outcomes on complex domain specific tasks and achieve strong performance with fewer examples. All right. Uh, I see a couple of questions, y'all. Keep them coming. I'm going to tackle any of the questions that you have at the end as I'm scrolling through here. So let's talk about day 4. All right. So day 4, Canvas updates. So here's what was announced. Canvas was previously only for ChatGPT Plus users. Now it's available for all. So if you are using the free version of ChatGPT, which I would not recommend, just pay the $20 a month, y'all. It's the easiest. Like, think of your coffee. I'm sipping a coffee right now. Hey, shout out Nespresso. I love Nespresso more than anything else. They should sponsor the show because I'm always sipping on their coffee in the morning. But think, if you go get a coffee at Starbucks or your local coffee shop, let's say you do it twice a week, 3 times a week. Well, there's your $20 a month ChatGPT Plus, ChatGPT Plus subscription plan. People, if they're using the free version, they just give you enough to get a taste, but it's not enough to actually get work done if that's what you want to do. Anyways, so the big update with Canvas, well, it's available to everyone. There's some other bells and whistles. Essentially, Canvas was previously its own mode, but now it is not its own mode. So it is used in the tools section. So there's now a new icon when you are using ChatGPT. And essentially, it is a tool that you can use inside any mode now, aside from the O1 models in advanced voice mode. But essentially, it's not its own mode anymore. So it's a tool. You click on it to use it. The other big update here is it can also run Python, and it does now work with custom GPTs. All right, so as I go over what it does, hopefully that'll explain it a little bit more. So Canvas serves as a side panel within ChatGPT for collaborative writing and coding projects. You're not collaborating with teams, right? Like in Microsoft Pages, you're collaborating with ChatGPT. So normally when you are conversing with ChatGPT, right, you give it a prompt, it gives you a long answer. If you want to change something, you got to kind of reprompt. But Canvas changes it. So think of it as a split pane. So on the left side, you're talking to ChatGPT. On the right side, it's like an editable document. That's a hard word to say at 7 a.m. in the morning. Editable. All right. You can edit the document live, right? And you can also work with ChatGPT live, right? So think of in a document, you can type something yourself, tag ChatGPT in without having to constantly reprompt, scroll up. It's just a much better experience, right? I actually like that they called it Canvas because that's what it is. It's a canvas, and you can stay in that canvas and work on it. And ChatGPT, right? There's all these nice little, one-touch buttons, to polish the writing, change the writing style, do code debugging, right? But you can stay there. So it's just much easier to navigate with this kind of dual pane, right? So you can essentially, kind of quote unquote command ChatGPT on the left pane, and then on the right pane, you can see it work. You can go in there, work with it, change some things manually. It's a great mode. So it does allow direct editing of text and code, support shortcuts, and keep version history. Also, now the big thing is you can run Python code. So this is a shot at artifacts, right? I do think in Anthropic's Claude, the artifacts feature was its best feature, right? That's 80% of what I use Claude for is for artifacts. Claude still has, and artifacts still has way more advantages because essentially it can run any code. Artifacts can, or much, I don't have a complete list, but you can run, you can create an HTML website. You can create a business dashboard, right? You can do all these things. So right now, the new Canvas updates, you can just run Python, right? So you can't just render out any type of code, but Python's a great start, right? And this is something, at least if you're an engineer, software developer, coder, business intelligence, etc., you're using Python. Python is an extremely flexible programming language. You can create graphs with Python. You can create games with Python, right? You can create so many things with Python with that programming language. But Claude Artifacts still has an advantage if you're just looking at a large language model's ability to render something in the window. So it's available now, right? So yes, Canvas available now, even if you are a free user, and it's available inside of GPTs. So you do have to have a paid account to create GPTs, but now you have that kind of Canvas feature or Canvas ability inside of your GPT, which I think is really nice. So what makes it unique? Well, it, like I said, provides a visual side-by-side interface for working directly within ChatGPT. ChatGPT also gains better context awareness, offering targeted inline feedback and suggestions. You know what? I actually haven't done context testing within ChatGPT, which I probably should do, right? So I'm assuming that it's not going to eat up as many tokens if all it's doing. So let's say, you ask ChatGPT to spit out 1,000 words, let's just say, or 1,000 tokens, right? Each time. And you're just slightly reiterating. Eventually, you're going to hit that 32,000 token limit in ChatGPT on the front end, right? If you're using ChatGPT on the back end, it's 128,000 tokens. That's its memory before it starts forgetting things. So I do need to do some testing because I'm assuming that the Canvas, using the Canvas feature, is technically going to eat up a lot fewer tokens. So even if you don't think that you're going to need that direct editing feature, I don't necessarily see a downside to using Canvas most of the time for most everyday use. Also, what's great about Canvas is you can highlight specific sections for focused assistance. And also there's those nice little shortcuts on the side, right? Where if you're working with code, it can debug, suggest improvements. You can change the writing tone with one click. You can make it longer, shorter, right? Very cool. Just easy button, like huge one click that can change the output. So, how can you use it? Well, you can collaborate interactively with ChatGPT on writing or coding tasks. You can run and refine Python code right in the workspace for immediate validation. And you can request and receive targeted edits, suggestions, and improvements on your work without even having to talk to ChatGPT, right? Sometimes you're like, oh, okay, how do I, have ChatGPT, change it this way, right? And you're thinking and you got to type it out and you're like, that's not right, right? And you're like wondering, how can I give ChatGPT feedback? Well, in the Canvas mode, which is, I don't think anyone else has that level of one-click flexibility, right? There's other large language models where you can, change the tone, make it longer or shorter with one click. But ChatGPT in the Canvas mode really brings a lot of easy one-click modifications to that toolbar. So like I said, if you're not using Canvas mode, it's pretty much my default mode, even though it's not its own mode now, it's a tool. But I see very few instances where you shouldn't be using it as your default. All right. And now we have our last day. Here we go. We got to the end. Day 5, y'all. So it's the Apple ChatGPT partnership. Is this new? No. Nothing was new here. Nothing was new, except it's out. All right. So, I think all these other things, there's been a certain level of surprise or intrigue. So, day 5, not so much. It was just essentially the Apple and ChatGPT partnership is live. All right. As Apple updated their iOS and their Mac operating system. So here's what it does. We've covered it very, very, very in depth here on the show. So it embeds ChatGPT into Siri and also Apple's writing tools. It uses essentially ChatGPT. So there's settings that you can go into on your iPhone and enable this, or ChatGPT will ask you, or sorry, Siri will ask you. So if you're asking Siri something that is a little too complex, it will say essentially, do you want to use ChatGPT for this? Or you can just kind of override that and make that your default setting within Apple's settings. So it does embed ChatGPT into Siri and Apple's writing tools for advanced reasoning and content generation. Can analyze images in documents natively with no extra accounts needed. Also, this new integration that's live enhances Siri's intelligence beyond standard assistant functions. Are we finally going to have a smart AI assistant? Well, we'll see. I think my devices, I didn't even have time to update them yet. All right. So here's the availability. It's available now. right? So you do just have to update to the latest iOS and the Mac OS updates. A lot of it is device dependent, though. So you do, as an example, if you're using it on your Mac, you have to have an M chip, so an M1, M2, M3 chip. So it's not going to work on super old Macs. The same thing on the phone. You do to use the kind of the camera or the vision feature. You do have to have the newest iPhone. So that's not going to work with all of them. All right. Because, for some of these things that happen, on edge AI, right? It's happening on your device. Some of these things happen in the cloud. So you don't need the most powerful device, but some of these things you do need the most powerful processors. Yeah. Monica here is saying, finally. Yeah, I agree. I'm excited to test out that new feature. And to report more on it, because to tell you the truth, I haven't been able to research that one as much. That is the one, the last announcement that just came out. So, what makes this unique? Well, one thing that Apple does a really good job on is privacy, right? Yes, they are last to the game. I think most people, by the time they hear Apple Intelligence, at least if you're like me, I kind of roll my eyes. I don't know. To be honest, I kind of hate the hard stance on branding that Apple is taking toward artificial intelligence by calling it Apple Intelligence. I think that's a little cheesy, especially coming from the company that is multiple years behind its biggest competitor in Microsoft, right? So to try to rebrand artificial intelligence as Apple Intelligence when most people still aren't going to get these full features until 2025, and we've already had Microsoft Copilot for multiple years now, kind of cheesy, Apple. I don't know. All right, so here's how you can use this new ChatGPT Apple Intelligence integration. So you can draft documents, emails, and analysis without leaving Apple's ecosystem. You can summarize PDFs and interpret images right on your device, and you can enjoy faster, more integrated AI assistance for everyday tasks. I'm not going to use it, if I'm being honest. I'm not going to use Apple Intelligence, at least 90% of them. I mean, we'll see if I end up using Siri. I just like using advanced voice mode on ChatGPT. Also, Google Live, their voice mode is probably the leader right now because it is the only voice mode that is neural voice, right? I'll say that because obviously Apple and Siri, or sorry, Siri and Alexa are connected to the internet, but they're dumb assistants, right? So the only true like AI assistant that is connected in real time to the internet right now is Google Gemini's Live, and now Siri technically, right? So I haven't tried it out now, but hopefully we'll see some updates from the advanced voice mode. I love using it, but the downside of ChatGPT's advanced voice mode is it's not connected to the internet, so you're not getting the most up-to-date real-time information. All right, so that's how you can use this new Apple thing here. So let me just quickly, I saw a couple of questions. Sorry if I missed it. I'm actually on my laptop today. So normally I have, two computers and I can see a little bit more. So I'm going to try to get to a couple of these questions here. And then I'm going to tell you what I think is next for OpenAI's kind of 12 days. So Frank is asking, do I have to pay per user for Pro if we are in the same organization? Frank, I believe yes. Although I don't believe as of yesterday, at least, I was talking with one of my contacts at OpenAI. I don't believe that Pro is yet available for Teams or enterprise accounts. I'm sure it will be any day now, but as far as I know, right now, right, and I have a Teams account. I have an enterprise account, but I don't have billing or admin access to that. But on my Teams account, I can't upgrade to Pro. I can only do that with my kind of quote unquote normal accounts. So, a free account, you can upgrade to Pro. A ChatGPT plus $20 a month, you can upgrade to that $200 account. Frank also asking, where did O1 go? I had it 7 days ago. Frustrated. It's still there. So yeah, if you have a paid $20 a month account, O1 is still there. Philip joining from YouTube says Gemini Pro and Ultra. So can we say Gemini is the biggest competitor against OpenAI? Yeah, they are. I'm going to save this rant for another day. Philip, I think, wow. I mean, if I'm being honest, I think until yesterday, OpenAI was in its own tier, right? It was tier 1 OpenAI, tier 2, 2A Google, to be Microsoft, even though Microsoft's just essentially, no, I got to change that. I would actually say previously, I would say 1A, OpenAI, 1B, Microsoft Copilot. Then I would say 2A was probably Google Gemini. And then, 2B was probably Claude Anthropic. But now I think Google is back up in that tier 1 with what we just saw yesterday. I mean, my gosh. I mean, the problem, they have a marketing problem. Google has a go-to-market problem. OpenAI does not, right? OpenAI brings, again, yeah, sometimes you get these long wait lists, but at least the products get released. Google, not so much. And sometimes they're just releasing it on the developer end, right? Which people don't understand. People do not understand this. 5 years ago, it was CTOs, CISOs. It was the highly technical people that were making these decisions. So I think Google especially has this all wrong. They have their go-to-market all wrong. They're only appealing, I think, or relying too much on developers, because aside from, finally, the front end of Google Gemini just got some much needed updates in the last 24 hours with the new 2.0 Flash and also the new 1.5 Deep Research. Amazing. But for the most part, Google, the front end of Google Gemini has just been abandoned, right? But that's what people use. I literally, and this is not an exaggeration. People reach out to me all the time and they're saying, Jordan, listen to your show, blah, blah, blah. You went off on some crazy rant, but our entire executive team looked it up and you were right? But these executives that are trying to make decisions on AI, they're going on the front end. They're going chatgpt.com, gemini.google.com, claude.ai, Copilot, right? That's what they're doing. They're not going to Google's AI Studio or Vertex anymore, because now the decision-making ability, it is CEOs, it's CMOs, right? It's people that are not necessarily technical. They're not the ones necessarily going on the developer platform to test things out. I think Google has tremendously missed their go-to-market. But yeah, right now they're the biggest competitor. Sorry, Philip, I went on a rant. All right, Jay, how long did it take to give you a response after search the 160 sites? Great, Jay. So yeah, it searched the Google Deep Research, searched 169 sites. I literally, I made a face. If you're on the live stream, I was like this. I was up here by myself, I don't know, 10, 11 p.m. last night, doing some last minute prep for today's show. And I was legit flabbergasted. It took probably, I should have timed it. I'll probably do a video review. It probably took about 2 to 3 minutes. I'm guessing it might take longer as more people use it, right? It might be kind of like, bandwidth, right? So if you're using it during busy times, it might take longer, but it took about 2 or 3 minutes. But you know what? I'm fine with that, because as I've been using Perplexity, I've been using Perplexity since it came out. I personally feel in my team's experience, Perplexity is getting more things wrong than they used to. Its new kind of quote unquote reasoning, not that good, I don't think. This new deep research, I was blown away. And yeah, Jay, I'm pretty much ready. I'm pretty much ready to drop Perplexity. Not just yet, right? There's a lot of things that I had, baked into our workflow that I'm not yet ready to drop Perplexity because of this new deep research. Have to do a lot more testing. But I mean, instantly, 80% of my use cases for Perplexity went out the window the very first time that I used deep research from Google. Amazing. And that's not really happened, right? Very rarely do I use a tool once, right? Because I stress test these things, try to break them, reverse engineer what's good and bad, right? Very, very hardly ever do I use something once and say, this is going to replace a big part of my team's workflow. That happened. All right, y'all. I don't see any more questions. I hope this was helpful. I hope it was helpful to get a nice overview of everything that's been going on. But here's what I think is next. Okay. There's still 7 days. So what is OpenAI going to release? Well, I think we're going to see projects And some of these, there's some random rumors on the internet, in screenshots, and some of these things are just my hunch from covering this every single day. I think we're going to see projects, which is essentially a folder system inside ChatGPT to help you stay better organized, but also to upload files. So something between like Spaces in Perplexity and projects in Claude, but essentially one spot where you can upload custom instructions, different chats, and different files. I think we're going to see that. I think we're going to see some advanced voice mode updates, hopefully the ability to use tools and the internet within advanced voice mode, right? That's what I want. I want to be able to have this neural voice that I can talk to, like a Siri, like an Alexa, right? That's actually smart, that is powered by a large language model, but I can upload my data to, and it can also look up real-time information on the internet, because right now, advanced voice mode, you cannot upload your own data. It doesn't have access to any of the other tools of ChatGPT. So I think and I hope that we're going to see something like that. I think we are going to see a GPT 4.5, maybe not released, but a wait list. I'm not sure, but I think we're at least going to see the next GPT model, since we've seen a lot of movement in the O1 series. And I think we're going to get a preview of the rumored operator agent from OpenAI, especially, right, what we just saw from Google. We've been seeing reports for many months that OpenAI has been working on this new agentic system, and that's next on their step, right? They have this 5-step plan to AGI, right? And we're at reasoners, and it's only logical that the next step toward that is agents, right? We've seen it from Microsoft Copilot. We've seen it from Salesforce, right? We've seen it now from Google, right? Even though it's probably going to take many, many months for most of us to get our hands on this, but I do think that's next. So that's what I think. Let me know. Actually, right now, if you're still listening on the live stream, get your best guess in for what's next. I'm going to grab some of my favorites and put them in today's newsletter. All right. So let me know what you think is next. All right. And also, if you haven't already, please go to youreverydayai.com. Sign up for the free daily newsletter. If this was helpful, please repost this. I know this was a longer show. It ended up being half Google, half OpenAI. But hey, in 50 minutes or in 25 minutes, if you listen to me on 2X, which I definitely would, you just got tons of hours worth of updates. And now you are the smartest person in AI at your company. All right. So thank you for tuning in. Again, please go to youreverydayai.com. Sign up for the free daily newsletter. Yeah, we recap today's episode in every episode. So when we have super smart guests, we recap the main insights in our newsletter, as well as keeping you up to date on everything else that's happening in the world of AI. Thank you for tuning in. We hope to see you back tomorrow and every day for more Everyday AI. Thanks, y'all.